What's up, my Makokos, Raid Pros, and Bonk Bros? Defender here, and welcome back to another video. Now today, it's a much requested topic I want to go through, and you probably already guessed it's the Twinkle one, right? Now this is the Gold Frog, as a lot of you know, and it's something that's been around now for just over a week, so we've had 2 resets now, and it's enough information that I can kind of go off what I'm hearing back from friends and what we're seeing on Reddit, that after 2 resets we can kind of start looking at whether or not things in there are worth your time investing your gold, or if you should hold off on them, watch how the market is changing, and then decide whether or not to invest in any of the stuff that you're interested in doing. And there's a lot of factors and variables that play into whether or not you should be spending your gold this way, and I'll talk about them in this video, so let's get into it. But before we get into today's video, you guys know the drill with YouTube. If you like the video and you appreciate the content, please consider dropping me a subscribe. Let me know down in the comments down below if there's any ways that I can improve the video, or if I've got something wrong maybe, or maybe you just want to share your opinions on the matter. I always appreciate hearing from you guys. Your feedback is incredible. I'm taking on board everything you guys are saying, and I try and communicate with you guys as much as possible in the comments down below. And so yeah, if you like the content, please consider doing any of those. I'd really appreciate your support. We're going to keep growing as a community, and I want to keep delivering amazing content to you guys. But anyway, let's get straight into the video. Enjoy. Now, right off the bat, I want to talk about a few things. The big disclaimer, of course, is that ultimately, all of this gold frog is RNG, right? So a lot of people are having great success, and some people are having no success. Now, I can't go out there and say, do this, because it's your gold, and ultimately you could end up losing a lot of the value, or you could end up making a lot of the value back. I'm just going to tell you what I think is worth doing and leave you with the decision to make, okay? And also, whilst we're on that topic, only use gold that you have available that's disposable. And what I mean by that is, if you're currently investing in getting your character up to Belshazzar, for example, then this might not be worth it. If you need the gold to buy a certain item, or if you're looking to gear your engravings 5x3 with accessories, focus on the things that are more important. I've put a few reasons down below, and I'll go into those as we get on with the video, but just bear that in mind before you spend any of this gold. It's not a blanket win across the board on a lot of items. Now, the first thing I want to get into is the legendary engravings, okay? And I've got some footage of me from last week and this week spending the gold on the 3 legendary engravings, on the two lots of them on the vendor, so there's 6 each week, and they're going to cost you 2,000 gold each, and that comes to 12,000 gold each week. And a lot of people obviously get very lucky with it, maybe get a couple of grudges or a couple of Reaper engravings, make a lot of money. And so I talked with a couple of people in my clan. A lot of people have been posting their results, looked on Reddit, looked on Twitter, and just looked in chat as well. And generally speaking, across the board, people are making a profit. And that's obviously not a huge investment in data, because we don't have the information pulled from the game to say that. But we know this because, firstly, the average of you getting a good engraving is pretty favorable right now, and also because it's doing what it's supposed to do, right? It's lowering the prices of the engravings on the market every day, just because of the influx of legendary engravings going into the game, because people are spending their gold. You know, it's very, very favorable to risk 2,000 gold for a lot of people, because they've been holding on to a lot of gold right now, because there's items are very expensive, and also most people are already ready for Belshazzar, or they're not willing to spend their money on things until the prices stop fluctuating. So they're willing to invest their money. 2,000 gold, for example, in a book is better for a lot of people than spending 19,000 on a grudge book, okay? Because you buy 6 books, you might even get a grudge in there, and if not, you can probably sell most of them back. Now, I've pulled my data here from 2 weeks, and both weeks I made a considerable profit, but the thing to note is it is going down for me, and I think that's going to happen across the board anyway. In my opinion, and I put it here at the end, your profit chance is going to decrease every week that this event is going, purely because the longer this event goes, the more engravings are going to be pushed into the market, so it's going to be a deluge of engravings, and people are going to start undercutting each other, prices are going to drop, and every Wednesday especially, every reset day, the prices really take a hard dip. So there's 2 ways you can look at that. And first off is, Your profits are going to be lower every week as this event goes on statistically, but also if you need an engraving, every Wednesday is going to be a fantastic opportunity until this frog disappears, that is, later in December. We have a few more weeks. Every Wednesday is going to be a great opportunity to invest in engraving books if you need them still. People get on, they buy the 6, they chuck them onto the market, and then people just start undercutting like crazy, and there can be some real good opportunities, okay? So keep an eye on that every Wednesday. If you need still to buy a few engravings, it's a good opportunity, okay? And then prices do start to rise a little bit more as the week continues, and then as we get to like Monday and Tuesday, prices, they're getting back towards their original, but they're not actually reaching that still. So it is still lowering every week across the board as an aggregate. Okay, so my experience so far with myself and other people is almost everybody has made a profit from these. And even if you don't, I think it's still worth the chance at buying these, okay? If you get some big ticket ones, you are doing very well. But I wouldn't throw away gold if you need it for more important things, okay? This is more of a disposable income of gold, like I said. But in my opinion, still worth it. 12,000 gold, most people can get back very comfortably each week. Okay, and then let's move on to the other one I want to talk about. Now, in this example on my main character, I haven't bought them yet on this character, but as you can see, so you have 3,000 gold to spend here on 10, and you can see the options in there. Not many options in there, most of them are very, very desirable, and it's the same here, just with higher results for 6,000, okay? So between them, 9,000 gold, and there is an item level requirement of 1460 for the higher one, and 1415 for the lower. So 9,000 gold, and my results are pretty consistent, actually, surprisingly. But I'll go over what I think the value of these are first, okay? So let's say for each character that you want to buy this on, let's say you go for both, okay? And we took the market value from today, so we're already into the second week. So some prices are lower, but I think it's more accurate to take that. And the Hope Amulet is a fantastic item. It is a huge new addition to the tripod system. And this item, the value of it is going to be at least the cost of the box that you're buying. Okay, so I put it at 601 because the most expensive boxes are 600. Okay, so it's going to be at least 601 gold value. It's hard to put a value on it because you can't sell it, but this is because, firstly, an item that you would be buying from the auction house with tripods is going to cost you fions, it's going to cost you gold. Bidding on gold, it could go to thousands if it's a good one. You've also then have to invest sage in your tripods, so you have a percentage chance of hitting it. You always want to put sage in on a good one, so you double your odds. And lastly, you have the chance to fail those tripods again anyway. So this takes away all those elements. You know, it's a guaranteed success. At level 4 from any level, so level 1, 2, 3 instantly goes to level 4. And also, the only caveat is that it doesn't max out at 5, okay? So it's still, in my opinion, a huge success. Even on characters you might have the max tripods for that you need, it gives you an opportunity to save it or use it on a tripod that might be a flexible choice, for example. You know, some classes have movement-based tripods that they use, or some classes maybe have tenacity built in their tripods that they use. And this lets you then choose like maybe a crit chance or another alternative on your tripod, just in case you might want to swap it out as a variable down the line. But if not, holding on to it is a fantastic option as well in case they ever change your tripods. Okay, let's get into the other materials because they're important. Guardian stones at 1 gold, been that way for a long time, okay. Destructions, they were up to 15 at one point over here in EU. They're down to 7 at the moment consistently, maybe even 5 on some days, but we've just gone with 7 because that's where we're at the moment. Great honor leap stones, they've been going up consistently for a while now. I think they're going to maybe stay stable for a while since we had the Hyper Express pass, but of course they're going to go even higher as we get to Belshazzar. They're going to really, really increase in value. Okay, so they're 47 at the moment. Honor shards, these things are a game changer. Okay, I've done a video before on honor shards and why they're so important, and their value is insanely high. So right now they're set at 400 gold on the market, but in my opinion, if you're getting these from the frog, your value of this is going to be much higher because you're probably not buying these on the market right now because they're so expensive. They're actually going to be worth a lot more than that when Belshazzar comes. So if you get any of these from this, it's a huge success. Lastly, the solar items. Personally, I only use these on weapon taps. They get quite expensive. at certain periods of the week on the auction house, but right now it's steady at these three prices. Okay, so 160, 80, and 42. For some reason, this one's slightly off, but that's the values of those across the board at the moment. And I pull up some screenshots and I put them up for you now on the success and, well, just the variables of buying them across all my different characters. I bought them on my my other characters that I'm working on. So right now I've got my my destroyer is ready for Belshazzar, so I'm not buying them on the destroyer. I'll go through that in more detail as we get on with the video. Berserker, I'm just looking at the start of Belshazzar. I don't need to hone on the Berserker. Okay, and the Striker I did buy them for because I've just reached 1490 on the Striker with buying the materials. And then I bought them on these three characters as well. So these are my 6, okay, and I bought them on the roster that I'm bringing up still to get ready for Belshazzar. And I'll explain to you why in more detail, but I'm just going to show you the results on screen of buying the small and large ones for each of the characters for 2 weeks. I think I skipped a small on the Deadeye just because I forgot to buy it because I was still working through whether or not they were worth it. But if we look across the board on the results, each one of them almost consistently across all of the, so what's that now? That's 4 characters buying 2 a week, so that's almost 16. I think I bought 15 in total, but you'll see them up on the screen. Almost all 15 of them I doubled in value my return on investment from the vendor. And what I mean by that is, so you're not saving money firstly, because if you don't buy materials from the market, you're not saving money per se, but the value of this. So say I spend 3,000 gold on this pack here. What I mean by doubling my value is the return of the items I get based on the value of the market is actually closer to maybe 6, 7, or even more across the board on average of the return. And that's not including the Hope Amulet. The Hope Amulet, again, in my opinion, I valued it at this price, but that's purely subjective. Tried to put in as much logic as I could to it, but again, you might not need it at all, so it might be useless, or you might really, really need it because your tripods are so expensive that actually it's worth a lot more, or it's invaluable to you. You know, it's like gold dust. So across the board on both of these, surprisingly, it was almost double the value return on investment. So in my opinion, these are a fantastic opportunity to buy them if you can afford them, okay? And I'll talk a few reasons why you might not want to. So if we talk about the reasons you wouldn't buy any of these at all, okay, so any option from the vendor, firstly would be, is your character already 1490 and you're starting to stockpile your materials every week from the raid anyway, building up to Belshazzar, and you're just planning on doing gate 1 and 2, okay? If that's your option, you don't need to buy these. The value is good, but you could argue to skip it and just gather your weekly gold and materials from your Legion raids, your other weekly activities, maybe selling some items, your trade skills, etc. Another option is, are you only honing with bound mats? Now this is something I've been doing for a while on my main and my Berserker at 1490. I've only been honing with bound mats, and I've been pumping all of my unbound mats, so the ones you get from Guardians and the other materials that you're getting from the Chaoses and etc. They're going to be unbound. And what I've been doing them is I've just been throwing them into my shared storage and holding on to the excess in my main storage, okay? And that just lets me build up a kind of bank of items that I need if I wanted to do a new character, or if I need to do some emergency kind of last minute honing to bring a character up for Belshazzar. These are purely based on my own decisions though, so bear that in mind. If you're not honing with bound mats and you're using everything, then this is an absolute go on the vendor, buy all of the materials. But if you're only honing with bound mats, you're selling the rest maybe, or you're not in a rush and you've only got a few more hones to hit, you can just save your gold. You don't need to buy this material because everything is going to be bound anyway, so you can't make a profit off of it if that's what you were thinking. Another option is, maybe you're not looking to raid Belshazzar. Maybe you don't care about advancing your eye level past where you're at. Maybe you're still early in the 1400s. Maybe you're just hitting your first Volton. Your gold is quite scarce. You're using it to kind of maybe invest in accessories, like I said before, maybe investing in honing. And right now the materials aren't the issue. Maybe other issues are actually your gold itself, or buying all the chests from the raids anyway because you need the armor currency, the bones. So these things are the factors to consider. Also, if you don't have any disposable income, like I've said before at the start of the video, this ultimately is gambling, okay? Yes, it's a different form of gambling because you're guaranteed a return on investment, but if you were to go and buy all these material boxes, and you get a lot of Guardian Stones, okay, in both these boxes, you're going to be very disappointed because the value of those is nothing, okay? Say you got, I don't know, 7 out of 10 of each of these boxes with Guardian Stones, you're getting next to nothing back for what you've spent, hundreds on the thousands that you've spent. So it is gambling, and if you do that and you lose out on all your gold from Guardian Stones, which come up plentiful across your account, you're going to be quite upset. So bear that in mind if you don't have disposable income. Just like in real life, with gambling, something I've always been told, and something I learned growing up, is don't gamble with money you're not willing to lose. Okay, so that applies here as well. So you shouldn't be spending gold on items that you're willing to lose that gold on, that you might need or really want it for something else. And lastly, like I said before, engravings. Okay, so I've said you might be wanting to save money for accessories or engravings. Engravings themselves are going to be dropping in price. That's the intention of this frog event or appearance, if you will, for the next 4 weeks, is he's here to sell his items, and the knock-on effect is going to start punishing the prices that bots were putting out and that the gold economy was messing with because of the bots and RMTing. We're already seeing that the market prices are dipping on all the big engravings, and that's fantastic for everyone trying to get involved, trying to gear up. If you're saving for engravings and you can't afford to gamble on this, you can just hold, right? If you're patient and you hold, you're going to see that the prices of the engravings are going to start to go lower and lower to a certain point. Obviously, they're not going to go down indefinitely whilst this event is going, but say, I don't know, Grudge was at 19,000 over here. It's already gone down considerably. Now, if you weren't lucky enough to get hold of the Grudge engravings, like I mentioned before, then they were down to, I believe, something like 6, 7, maybe even 9,000 at one point. I made a video about it at the time saying about how they're going to be going back up again because the bots were getting addressed. And if you needed them, buy them. This was a couple months ago. I don't know how many people went ahead and got that anyway, but it went up to 19, 20,000, okay? And now you can see it starting to come back down because of this event, and this is exactly what we wanted, okay? It's a huge success. It's perfect. And if you needed something like this, or another expensive one, say, I don't know, Sork's Igniter, or Striker's Death Blow, or the Reaper ones, for example, they're all going to start to go lower as this event's going. So just bear in mind the length of the event and how you can use this to your advantage, like I said, with Wednesdays being the day that engravings start to get undercut heavily and very aggressively. Okay? So that's everything to consider for both the legendary engravings and the material bags. Okay? Now, the lucky random chest, I don't want to get into this too much because it's such a wide range of luck, if you will, but people on Reddit have been discussing this, pooling their results. It's been talked about a little bit on Twitter and Discords and in the guild and in the game area chats. It has the potential to be huge. Okay, so legendary card selection pack is put in there for a reason, right? It's put in there to try and really entice you into gambling. Now, don't get me wrong, I would really love to get a legendary card pack. I'm lucky if I even see one every month in the challenge dungeons, but the odds of it are, well, impossible to know, but Reddit people are reporting, it's 1 in 2,000 or 1 in 1,000. And you can only afford to buy 5 per character every week, and it's going to cost you 5,000 per character. I don't think that's worth it, in my opinion. If you're a juicer or a whaler and you want this, there's cards in there, there's rapport, there's silver, there's, you have a lot of options to your advantage. But in my opinion, just the wide range of all of this, and the odds that are stacked so heavily against these items are just not that good. Even if you get these card packs for saying that you're going for them, the odds of them giving you a legendary are just not in your favor anyway. So I don't think there's much value in here, and the RNG is just heavily stacked against you, that the odds of you getting this are just so slim that unless you have such a big stockpile of gold, it's not worth you investing. And even then, you're better off spending that gold on everything else first, and then on the market, converting your crystals into converting your gold into crystals, buying the Maori shop card packs, you'd probably get better luck than buying gold boxes off of this vendor. So my advice, stay away from the lucky chest. The lucky random chest is just a bait. It's there to just steal your gold. It's there to get people to basically buy a lottery ticket, right? It's an expensive lottery ticket. Maybe a few of you will have won it, and fantastic if you did, but I have not touched it once. Everyone's results so far have been very doom, so stay away. You've been warned. Only spend at your own risk on that, and I really don't advise it. I can't really say much more on the matter because I think it's very straightforward if you look at it. But yeah, everything else has been a huge profit success. Even small profits are, at the end of the day, profits, and they're also helping with the purpose of this anyway by lowering the engraving prices for everyone else. So, in my opinion, these are musts, really. If you can afford them, they're musts on every character that you consider a main in your roster, okay? So, if you can, make sure you get these in order of preference. I would say go for the legendary engraving boxes first, and then go for the 1460 box. And then if you still need any more materials for your honing or catching up or whatever your aim is, grab the 1415, okay? For some reason, I've had a lot more success with the larger one than the smaller one. And I don't know, maybe that's just personal experience. Maybe they're weighted differently, impossible to know. But yeah, go for the large one first and then the smaller one. And just don't touch the lucky random chest, please, for the love of God. Whatever you do, just don't touch it. You'd make me so sad if you did. Even if one of you gets a legendary card back, 2,000 of you are never going to see it. So just please avoid it. Don't fall into the trap. And that's everything, really. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope that's been insightful. Please spend your gold wisely. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you very much. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.